Hello, in this video I'm going to cover the RDS blueprint with BoltOps Pro. This blueprint is essentially a CloudFormation template that allows you to provision a RDS database. In this video we're going to cover specifically MySQL. If you are looking for Aurora, there's also Aurora blueprint here for traditional Aurora, and there's also Aurora serverless blueprint that will provision an RDS Aurora serverless database if you need that. Let's see what we can cover here. So all instance properties are essentially configured with parameters unless they're complex types, and they're complex types, they're configured with variables. So this blueprint is extremely configurable and flexible. Storage is encrypted by default, and you can either use an existing DB subnet group name here, or you can provide DB subnet IDs as parameters to the blueprint, and then it's going to create a managed DB subnet group for you to provision to place the database instances into. You can also create an optional Route 53 record, which kind of makes it prettier to point to the DNS endpoint that's associated with the RDS database. If you're going to do that, I recommend using internal Route 53 records because this is a database we're using here. To use this blueprint, it's pretty straightforward. You just add the blueprint file to your gem file. You configure some config values and you deploy it. Here's the step to add. Here's some instructions on how to kind of seed it and kind of configure it. You see there are a lot of different parameters. I do want to point this out down here under configure more details. Compatible parameters and variables. So each RDS database engine has different parameters that you have to set for it, and these parameters need to be compatible. You can't set, for instance, engine versions that don't exist for MySQL that only exist for Postgres. So you have to make sure these values are compatible with each other. If they're not, then what's going to happen is the stack's going to roll back. So this table gives you some guidance on some tested values. We're going to actually use this in this demo here. Here's the ability to use the custom VPC. The suggesting is to place the database into private data subnets. That's actually shipped with a reference architecture here. And here's a screenshot. If you don't have if you're not using the reference architecture, it's all good. What you can do is you just specify your subnets that you want to use on your current VPC. Here's how you can actually assign an existing security group if you want to kind of manage that outside CloudFormation. Or if you don't, then this template will create a managed security group for you and then manage it within CloudFormation. Some more information here about Route 53 records, advanced property customizations, creating replicas, database parameter groups. You can see there's kind of a lot of different things you can configure here. And some considerations down here, just RDS, if you're going to provision it, I kind of recommend setting just the database instance identifier, at least, so then you don't actually swap the instance out. This will actually cause a rollback, which is kind of some behavior you might want to do as a guardrail, essentially. Okay, so that being said, I kind of covered that, hopefully pretty thoroughly but short. And let's kind of jump into now the demo. So let's go ahead and grab, let's see, we gotta go to gem file here. And then I gotta grab actually the line of code for the gem file I need to add. So let's go add that. But you can see I have this handy blueprint helper method here, kind of, that basically does the same thing. So I'll just use that because it looks, I think, a little bit prettier. Okay, once that's done, you just do a bundle to get the blueprint kind of installed. Okay, and then you can go Lono blueprints, and you can see the blueprints kind of associated with this Lono project. So the next step now is just to run the seed command. So seed will essentially evaluate the template and then generate some starter configs for you. It spares you from basically typing. So I'm going to go ahead and seed. I'll just seed both. Yeah, I'll just seed both. Let's go run seed for development as well as for production. So that created the development config values or files, and we just kind of look at them real briefly here. So there's the development ones. I'm going to syntax highlight this. And you can see the parameters here are kind of parameters we're going to have to set. Let's go to the table now. Let's go to the compatibility table because that's key here. I'm going to do MySQL. I'm going to do 8. I left some values for 5 here because 8's not that new, but some people are still using 5. So let's just go MySQL is the engine 8.016 here. So we got to set that. That's our set. Okay, I guess that's the default. So this might go by real quickly. DB parameter group. Let's make sure the DB parameter group is matching here. 8.0, so that's good. You have to use compatible values here or else the stacks will roll back. And then last, the DB instance class. DB instance class. Let's see where that is. DB instance class up here. And the D3 micro, I think that's what I have. Okay, so we're good. And actually, I don't think I changed any of those values. So I think we're actually set there. Let's check the production values real quick. It should be this pretty much set too. So this is nice because MySQL is, I guess, the default one. So we didn't really have to change much. Okay, except I would point this out. We do have to change the either it says right here. Let's put it on top of each other, stack it. It says right here, you must either set the DB subnet group name or the IDs. Set to a blank string if you're not using. So I did this just because it's easy to kind of let's say set this, and then unset it, uncomment it, and then forget to set this, and then it ends up actually rolling back the stack. So you either have to set one of those by design. This, I think, makes it a little more user-friendly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the DB subnet group name because I'm using the reference architecture here. So let's go VPC in the development account. Grab outputs, private data subnets. That's not what we want here. We want private DB subnet group. There. So yep, that's what we want. So I'm going to go here and put this right here. Okay, so that takes care of, oops, that was production. So let's try development. Let's try this again. Okay, and right away, before I forget, I'm going to go down here and put a blank string here because that's what the docs say. Okay, now let's go ahead and grab production. Let's go switch over the production account. There's a VPC here that I've also built. Now, private DB subnet group. Okay, so let's go here and production up here. See, there's the example values there. And then go down here and comment this out. And I'm just looking through the values here. This looks good. This looks good. Username and password, I'm just leave as is. You should change those to values that make more sense. That are more secure. And then VPC ID, because it's used as part of the security group here. So the last thing I need is the VPC. I'm on the production account now, so I'm just going to grab the production one first. And then I'm going to swap over to the development account. And then go ahead and grab that value. Outputs, here's the development VPC. Okay, and now, oops, let's see. There we go. Okay. VPC. Okay. I'm going to double check all the values. Maybe put it side by side now. Okay. Let's double check all the values. That looks like a set. Most of these were defaults. And then development looks good. Okay. So we are good and we have compatible values. All right. So we are ready to rock and roll and launch. So let's go ahead and run these two commands to launch the stack here. I'm going to grab the first and second command, but the second command, I'm going to not grab the no wait option. No wait is just going to basically fire it, they call it asynchronously, and then we'll just continue. Except I'm not going to do that here. Instead, you know what? I'm going to throw this down here, make it a little clearer. Okay, there we go. Now going down here. So I'm deploying the development one first in the development account. And then once, because that's no wait, it's going to prompt me right now for the right away. It returns right away, and I'm going to be able to deploy it to production now. So that's going to deploy to production, and with that second one, I didn't use the no wait option because that is going to pull for a status update here. So we can kind of wait for that. Let me just show you that the stack has been launched in both accounts. Here's the development account. So there's RDS, and there it goes, event create in progress. Let's go over to the production account, and you should see the similar stack. There you go, RDS. All right, and the parameters here are being passed in are MySQL and all the parameter values we kind of provided here. So RDS databases actually take a little bit of time to launch. It takes a long, not a long time, but it takes a little time to bootstrap the whole process and everything. Usually about 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this so y'all don't have to wait. Okay, the database has finished creating. You can see right here it took about 12 minutes to create the production one. And you can also verify that creation has finished by looking at the CloudFormation console right here. So let's look at the production account here. You can see events and all that. You can see it started at 16:05 and it finished at 16:17, about 12 minutes. Let's check the development account. Development account is also done creating. That's good. Same thing, events down here, 16:04. Finished at 16:16, so about 14 minutes, 13 minutes there. Let's also, for good measure, check the RDS console to see these databases. I'm in the development account right now. Let's go here, You can see the database identifier right here. You can see the database, and you see that it is using the right subnet group right here, using the right MySQL engine. I guess you could click modify, so then you can see what actually engine version it is, and all that kind of stuff right here. See, 8.016, and that's dev. So let's see. We'll go back here and let's go switch over to the prod account. And there's the production one. So that one is done too. So what we did was we were able to use the same code to create similar databases across environments, and actually across accounts here. We could have used like maybe a larger instance type for production versus development. So here's actually production versus development, or enable multi-AZ for production versus development, all that kind of stuff. But it's all configurable right here. Let's see if I missed anything. Okay, so I covered all that. I don't think I missed anything. So that pretty much covers it. It's pretty simple to get started with the RDS CloudFormation template blueprint here from BoltOps Pro. All you do is just add the blueprint to your gem file, you configure some values, and you can deploy it. That's it. Hopefully you found this helpful. Cheers.